Welcome to Political Forum for this Wednesday, August 14, 2013. Please join me in welcoming our guest for today, Alderman George Cardenas of the 12th Ward.
Thank you.
Alderman, thank you for coming on Political Forum.
Thanks for the invite.
Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. I'm your host for today, Monica Torres Linares, a CAN TV board member. During the next 25 minutes, we will try to get to as many as your questions. This is a live interactive show, so if you have any questions for Alderman Cardenas, please call us at 312-738-1060. Alderman, please tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been in office 10 years. I have a business background, consulting, and I love what I do, obviously. We've been very successful. 10th year anniversary, we're going to roll out all the things we've accomplished in the community. And so far, we've counted over $350 million of investment, including schools, libraries, parks, fire stations, infrastructure improvements, streets, water main improvements, lighting, sidewalks, you name it. We've done a lot. We're proud of that, and obviously we're going to continue to do more.
Great. Please tell us about the new ward map. I will show here, that's a map of the old district.
Correct.
And then we also have a comparison of side by side, the old map, and then you have the new map.
Yeah, quickly, if you look at the old map, we have now more of what is called Little Village. We go all the way to Homan Street on 26th Street, and we also have almost all of McKinley Park. We are no longer in back of the yards, although we do take some industrial parts of it. The back of the yards will now be in the 15th Ward in 2015, when people obviously get to vote then for the new alderman or whoever they vote for. So those are some of the changes that are happening.
Great. Please tell us about the schools in your district. Are there any new schools coming up?
Well, we have we just inaugurated Back of the Yards High School, a $96 million investment, phenomenal school. It's an IB baccalaureate. It's set to obviously taking the majority of Back of the Yards students from various schools, Chavez, Lara, and so forth. And they're going to do very well. It is a school that has everything state-of-the-art, even a football field, so they can obviously play football and soccer and so forth and other sports. It is a sight to see. People that live in that community should take some time and go visit it and take a tour of the school. It has a music area, has an auditorium, has basketball courts, has a built-in library within the school. It is sort of something new that we're touting to save money, but serve the community as anchor, so more people kind of get to use the facility after school hours.
Great. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Sí, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Mire, mi pregunta es, ahora que los niños regresan a la escuela, ¿en su área hay lugares donde ofrecen vacunas económicas?
Sí, buena pregunta. Yo tengo eventos de ese tipo. Mi oficina, el 3476 sur de la Archer, para que se informe. Este sábado tengo un evento de Back to School en McKinley Park, en el Field House. Ahí está en la 39, lo que es el Pershing Road y Western. Así que véngase al parque y ahí se informa. Ahí vamos a tener también cosas de salud, cosas de la comunidad, school supplies para los niños, bastante información de lo que está pasando en la comunidad.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias por su llamada. Just a quick translation for those viewers who are not Spanish speaker. One of the viewers asked whether there's going to be any type of back-to-school events, and I will let the alderman.
Yeah, vaccines. She was asking whether there's any place where she can get her kids vaccinated as back to school, and I mentioned I do a lot of health events throughout the year. They do start in October, but this back-to-school event is in McKinley Park, right on Western and 39th Street, which is Pershing Road, in the Field House. We're going to be outside. Parts of it are going to be inside the park, but it is comprehensive. There's a lot of health-related organizations that will be in the back-to-school event, providing essential services for residents, as well as school supplies. So it's something that I do every year for kids and families, and we should have a good turnout. It's Saturday, and I believe the start time is 10 o'clock.
Okay, great. You're watching Political Forum. This is a live interactive show brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. If you have any questions or comments for the Alderman, please call us at 312-738-1060. Alderman, you were just talking about the back-to-school events. How do you finance some of these events that you put on for the ward?
Well, you know what? A lot of people don't believe this. We do not use any government funds whatsoever. City funds. This is all donated by my political fund or my supporters or sponsors of the event. And I was explaining before the live-in show that the tents, all of the logistics that need to happen to have a really nice event, the chairs, the tents, the things that people use, the bathrooms, are all paid for by supporters, vendors that support my efforts, and as well as our political funds. So I just wanted to throw that out there so people understand that this is the efforts are non-government. We do not spend any government dollars for that.
Thank you, Alderman. Speaking of finances, please tell us about City Council and the budget.
You had to go there. It's and obviously bad news again this year. We have a budget, a deficit of over $300 million yet again, and partly it's because of our pension payments. We are forced now by laws, the legislature has forced the city of Chicago to fund their pension systems at levels that obviously should have been funded years ago, but had never been so. But I think the aggressive push to do it so quickly will put us in a very difficult situation. I think something should have been graduated so that we can get to that level. By doing it so quickly and ramping up those payments, it really puts our taxpayers in a conundrum. And I think we have to get legislators to act on pension reform so that we can spread out the pain through several years, and we don't have to enact additional fee increases and additional taxes on constituents of the city. I think that we've had enough over the years, and I know people are tired of it. I know that I'm not supportive of that, but I need to reform the system. We need to cut costs, not increase revenues at this point.
Thank you, Alderman. You have on your website that you have War Night. Can you tell us about a little bit about that?
It's something I've been doing for 10 years, but it allows people to be able to see the representative. Not many people can get to see their state representative or senator or congressman, but they can get to see their alderman. Really, that's the gist of having a system like Chicago, that you can get access to your representative. The most local representative is the alderman, and he must be accessible. And being accessible means that you give certain hours so people can walk in unannounced, without an appointment. It's something that I do, and people obviously appreciate that. Sometimes there's long lines, sometimes there are not. It just depends on the day. But you certainly have an opportunity to see me if you wanted to.
Great. I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, I wanted to ask the alderman about an article I read this morning in the Sun-Times that said that Chicago Public Schools has posted on its website a request for new charter operators and charter campuses for the 2014-2015 school year. And just in the wake of all of the closings, I'd like to get the alderman's thoughts on that, closing public schools while asking for more charters.
Yeah, it's something that it sometimes it's hard to explain, but really it isn't. What happens in changing demographics in certain neighborhoods where you have more sort of a booming population, and so you're going to have a demand for more classroom, you get a demand for more teachers and so forth. In some cases, is the opposite. Some neighborhoods are seeing a decrease in population, a decrease in people living in those areas for various reasons. In the northwest and southwest sides, you see that the Latino population booming, and so there's only two options. One option is to build new schools or build annexes at a cost of a lot of money. I just mentioned that the Beck-with-the-Arts High School cost $96 million. That's almost $100 million. And in the financial straits that we are in right now, it's tough to build schools that are that costly. So part of the effort is to have different options for parents. In the old days, we used to have Catholic schools, and the archdiocese used to build and used to rent and used to lease space for those Catholic schools, and we don't have that anymore. We have less and less of that. But we also have to have options to relieve sort of that pressure, the valve of increasing population. Those kids also deserve a shot of being or have a decent education, not being put in boxes and being taught in very degradable situations. So we have to sort of take cognizant of that. I don't favor one way or another. I just like to have my community be educated and have that opportunity for those parents to have that choice.
Thank you, Alderman. I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, Alderman. Thank you for taking my phone call. I had fun at the movies in the park on Monday, July 29th. I was out there with my family. I was just wondering, are there going to be any more events coming up?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I wasn't touched on this, but this Tuesday, there's another movies in the park in McKinley Park. I know we had it at Hoyne Park. You were there, and now it is in McKinley Park on Tuesday. I think it starts at 7 o'clock. Call my office. It's the numbers on the screen. It's still the same number. Call. It's on the screen just to verify the time. But definitely we have Tuesdays movies in the park again. And if people went to see it, you were very pleased. We're gonna just up every time we do this. I like to up it and have all the things that families enjoy: the popcorn, some of the goodies that we had. Again, totally free, so the families can have a nice bonding experience that day, without having to worry about how much it's going to cost and transportation costs going downtown and so forth. And I love doing that, and I think you saw that. Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for that question. I will display again for those who have missed the Alderman's contact information. He's located at 3476 South Archer Avenue. His phone number is 773-523-8250. And his website is www.12thwardchicago.com. And I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Yeah, hello. I wanted to find out when the renewal of the cable franchise for Comcast is going to come before the City Council. I'm really concerned about whether they're going to provide adequate funding for CAN TV in that contract, and whether it's before a committee at this point or whether we're still looking forward to that.
Well, I've been in the council 10 years. In no time that any of the council members shied away from defunding CAN TV. On the contrary, it was always a priority for us, and I don't see it any different. Having access to programming for the community is essential in democracy, and that's not going to change. Like I said, I've been there 10 years, and it shall continue.
Thank you, caller, for that question. Alderman, please tell us if you are in any particular committees.
I am chairman of Health and Environment, and I do participate in the Education Committee, in the Rules Committee, in the Finance Committee, and the Budget Committee, and on the License and Consumer Protection Committee, and I believe that's it. I think that's are the main committees that I am part of. Oh, Housing and Real Estate. I almost forgot. I know Chairman Suarez wouldn't forgive me if I didn't mention his committee, but I am part of Housing and Real Estate as well.
Thank you, Alderman. Again, I will be displaying the Alderman's contact information. Are there any major economic developments that are coming up in the 12th Ward?
We are looking to develop along the Pershing Corridor. Right now, we're looking at different options, different proposals. We like to have some residential options, apartments, rentals. There's sort of a boom in there. People want to have a nice place to obviously to live. And right now, the housing market is still struggling, but you want to rent a decent apartment, you could do that. We want to obviously do some of that, and we also want to have some commercial options for folks. So I'm looking at different options along the Ashland and Western Corridor on Pershing. as well as other places in the surrounding community that our folks are looking at for potential investment. So I'm excited for the next a few years of all the things that we got going on, infrastructure improvements for McKinley Park and the other communities as well. A new park in Little Village will be launched this coming April. And so a lot of good things. Like I said, over $350 million in investments over the last 10 years to our community. It's one of the most active wards in the city in terms of things that are going on.
Great. Alderman, you mentioned briefly that about housing. How has the foreclosure crisis affected your ward?
It's affected the whole city. I think all of us have seen the pain. It's obviously abating. We do see signs of hope. People are building new homes, albeit a little more affordable. But still, those options, the people, initial starter homes, and then with the option to sort of, as the family grows, to be able to have a two-flat or maybe something that is a family, more of a family, bigger home. We're seeing that development with maybe a basement that is a legal basement, but it's there in case they want to use it to expand later on.
Thank you, Alderman. I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, yeah, I saw something in the news this week about someone being killed along one of the safe passage routes that they just created for. First of all, I'm not even sure what they are, and I know there's something to do with helping keep kids safe as they go to school. But so I guess, what are the purpose of them, and then how do you think we can make sure the kids are safe going to school?
Well, safe passage, obviously, it's something that we're doing just to absolutely be sure that kids are safe. If we were not to do that, we would be highly criticized if something would happen, of course, because of the school closures and the fact that parents were alarmed and were concerned about that. So we want to make absolutely sure that no kid gets harmed in the process. I think everything's going to work out fine. There's always going to occur incidents of violence, especially in the city, as you know. But I think the police are being extra careful to make sure that all kids are safe. As it happens, kids nowadays have easy access to guns, and lack of parenting is part of that. When a parent gets involved, to make sure the kid is safe. I know for my two daughters, I hold their hands. I make sure I look both ways. When I take them to school, I drop them off. Personally, hand them off to a teacher to make sure that someone is going to take care of my kid and be safe. And I think, obviously I'm blessed I'd be able to do that. But I think parents have to also take that accountability and responsibility to make sure their kids are safe, and not, I understand blaming sometimes other people, but, the government and the city must do everything we can to make sure that their kids are safe as well. So it's a combination, both parenting and the city has to do their part.
Thank you for that question, caller. Alderman, speaking of violence, how has gun violence affected the 12th Ward?
Well, we've definitely seen a decrease this year in violence in Little Village. Shootings are down 50%. The 10th District has been sporadic. In back of the yards has been a little more pronounced. But we have not seen the levels of violence in past years. So community policing, patrols, parents more involved. We're being more active, taking graffiti down before it escalates into, obviously violence or potential violence. So it's important to sort of understand those dynamics. And when you do city services, it is not just the streets, the can or the garbage cans and the lighting and so forth. Is the graffiti, things like that. That sometimes people react to it in a negative way that may lead to violence. And so I'm very I'm always on the alert when that happens. So take it down. So there's no sign of disrespect, if you will, because that's what some of these kids act on. I was disrespected, as I'm understanding. So I think that is working out.
Great, thank you, Alderman. I believe we have another caller on the line. Caller, what is your question?
Hi, Alderman. In terms of the budget, I was wondering if there are other revenue streams that are being thought about. I know one point in time, a casino in Chicago came up, and I just wanted to know where that stood. Is that off the table now? or are there any other ideas in terms of increasing revenue in Chicago?
Well, tourism is booming. There's a lot of folks that are enjoying the city from the suburbs, that are coming from the suburbs, and not to knock on the suburbs for people that visit us, but we have to take a look at that in terms of our support systems and what we do to be able to keep everybody safe that's coming to Chicago. And what are the takes and what are obviously the negatives of it. But I think we can take a look at that and see if having so many concerts, that the city is reaping some of the benefits. Not necessarily good for the promoters and good for the people that make obviously money by getting all these people at one place, but it's also hampering traffic. You need traffic aids. You need you need more police. You want to keep people safe. You want the streets to have the proper asphalt and all of that stuff. And so are we seeing those benefits? So that's a potential revenue stream that we may look at in some aspects. Some new businesses in the area. We just have to keep developing the city to be able to attract bigger companies so they can invest and pay property taxes. So that helps us increase the size of the pie, of course. And development always provides that valve relief for this city. When people come here and invest and pay property taxes and pay sales taxes when they go shopping and so forth, that is an additional revenue that perhaps we were not looking at before. The city is getting healthy again, pre-recession levels, but our costs, we are not keeping up with our costs. Our revenue line is increasing, but our costs are still double or triple because of the pension, because of some of the obligations that we have been settled for many, many years. And these are legacy problems that we've had for the last, I would say, decade. And that's our problem right now. I think that we are increasing revenues, we are developing, we are doing some of the right things. But there still remains that debt and some of the problems from the past are still dragging us down.
Thank you, Alderman. We just have a few minutes left. Are there any final comments you would like to tell the constituents or the public?
Well, I mean, nothing like democracy. You must be active, and I urge people to be respectful of debates and to always look at both sides of the argument. I think it's important to learn the facts and learn how your representatives make decisions. I try to make decisions based on facts and based on logical arguments, based on the best for constituents. And I think that every representative has to do that.
Thank you, Alderman. And again, if you want to speak to the Alderman, his Ward 4 number is 773-523-8250. His website is www.12thwardchicago.com, and he's located at 3476 South Archer Avenue. I believe we have one more time for one quick question. If the I believe the caller is off the line. Thank you, callers, for your questions.
I appreciate, obviously, the forum. You can always visit my website. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. And you can see me on Mondays.
Great.
Ciao.
Thank you, Alderman.
Bye.
Alderman, thank you for coming on Political
Yes.
Forum.
Thank you.
Thank you, callers, for your questions. Our telephone technician for today has been Steve. Political Forum is brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. Please join us for another edition of Political Forum next Wednesday. Have a good evening.
Thank you.